Hello, nice to see you back. In this video, we are going to learn what is promise method in JavaScript. Let's understand with graphical images. This is you, and it's your friend. Your friend calls you and says, "We have not met for a long time." And you tell your friend, "No problem, we meet tomorrow." This means you promised a friend. And we can divide this promise in 3 stages. Our first stage is pending. Until tomorrow comes, your promise will be pending. If you go to meet your friend tomorrow, then you make the promise fulfilled. So this is our second stage. And then come our third stage. If any of work comes and you are not able to meet your friend, then you have to reject your promise. And here is our promise, which has 3 stages: pending, fulfilled, and reject. What we do with this promise, now I am telling you. You promised your friend, if you go to meet your friend tomorrow, then you will have dinner in a restaurant. And if you can't go, then see you another day. Suppose we have a promise method, and on this promise we specify some condition. Based on the condition, we can have 2 results. Either that condition is resolved, either the condition has failed. In that case, we call reject. If your condition has been resolved, then we can use a JavaScript function. It's an inbuilt function, which is then. Inside this, we write what we will do if our promise is fulfilled. In our case, if our promise becomes fulfilled, then we will go to restaurant. Likewise, if the condition of your promise fail, then we call another function and we call it catch. Both of the functions are callback functions. When you call the resolve or reject function, it will be automatically called. Resolve and reject, this is our own function. You can give it any name. So this is our promise method, which is introduced in JavaScript ES6 version. Using promise method, we check some condition and it will tell us whether the condition is fulfilled or not. And on that basis, we do our further work using then or catch function. After that, I show you how to write promise method in JavaScript. First we take a variable and then we define method name new promise. Our variable name is pro, but you can take any variable, which will become an object of promise. As I told you earlier, we define function in promise method. It's something like that. You can see we create a function inside our promise method. Also we can create arrow function in our promise method. And inside that function, we take 2 kind of parameter. In our case, resolve and reject, but you can take any name. If your promise is satisfied, then you will call the resolve function. And if your promise is failed, then you need to call reject function. Let's see how to call both these functions. For that, we can create a condition inside the promise method. Something like that. You can see I have created if condition inside the promise function. If your condition is satisfied, then you will call resolve function. And if your condition is failed, then you will call reject function. You do not have to create this function anywhere. Just simply call this function. If your condition is resolved, then we can make 2 more functions for further. You can see I have created a function named onFulfillment. When we call resolve function, then we will call onFulfillment function. And I will also tell you how to call it. Whatever resolve function will return, we will store this value in result variable. And you can take any variable name. And I print this value in our console. In the same way, I'm going to take another function for reject function, and it is onRejection. Yes, you can take any name. If it returns something, then we will store the value in error variable. Both this function will not be automatically called because these are not callback function. To call this function, JavaScript have 2 callback function, and which we can use with promise. Like I told you before, our first function is then and our second function is catch. Both of these functions are callback functions. I am telling you how it call automatically. If your condition is satisfied and we call resolve function, then it automatically call then function. And inside this function, we have called onFulfillment function. And if your condition is rejected, then it automatically call catch function. And inside the catch function, we called onRejection function. I explain everything again. First, we need to create a promise object. Then inside the promise object, we need to create a function. and inside that function we can take two variables. Our first variable is for success purpose and our second variable is for failure purpose. So I take resolve and reject variable and then I create a condition inside this function. If the condition is satisfied, then it call resolve function, and if failed, then it call reject function. If resolve function called, then automatically run then function, and if reject, then automatically run catch function. These are callback functions. We don't need to call this function. And inside this function, we create two different functions. First one is on fulfillment and second one is on rejection. For now, I just print the result in our console, but you can do anything with that. Whenever we call resolve and reject function, we send value with them. Something like that. Here is a success and here is a failure. And when we call onFulfillment function, it assigns this string message with the result variable. Similarly, when we call reject function, it assigns this value with error function. Let's start with practical and see how we use promise methods. So it's time to back to my Visual Studio Code editor.